The rain hammered against the cracked pavement like 1,000 tiny fists, and there, beneath the flickering awning of a shuttered bakery, an old man collapsed onto the cold concrete, his frail body shaking as thunder rolled across the darkening sky. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness and second chances, hit that like button, drop a comment below, share this story with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Hope and Wisdom for more stories that touch the heart. Merritt Ashworth was only 17, but she had already learned that the world rarely handed out mercy for free. She sold roasted peanuts on the corner of Willow Street every evening after school, not because she wanted to, but because her mother's medical bills had swallowed whatever savings their small family once had. Her father had left years ago, chasing a life that didn't include them, and her mother, bedridden with a failing heart, depended entirely on the coins Merritt scraped together each night. Her shoes were worn through at the soles, her jacket too thin for the biting wind, yet she never complained. She simply worked, walked, and hoped. That evening, as the storm rolled in without warning, most people ran for shelter, clutching their umbrellas and cursing the weather. Merritt was packing up her small cart when she noticed the old man stumble and fall near the alley entrance. Nobody stopped. Pedestrians hurried past, some glancing briefly before disappearing into the gray curtain of rain, as if his suffering was simply another obstacle on their way home. Something in Merritt's chest tightened. She left her cart, unprotected peanuts and all, and rushed to his side. He was soaked to the bone, his lips pale, his breathing shallow. His clothes, though drenched, looked oddly formal beneath the grime of the street, like a man who had once worn suits and shaken important hands. Merritt didn't know who he was, nor did she care in that moment. All she saw was a human being in pain. She pulled off her own jacket, thin as it was, and wrapped it around his shoulders, then helped him to his feet with a strength that surprised even her. "Lean on me," she said softly, guiding him beneath the bakery's narrow awning, away from the worst of the storm. The old man, whose name she would later learn was Cassian Voss, could barely speak. His body trembled with cold and exhaustion, and for a terrifying moment, Merritt feared he might stop breathing altogether. She rubbed his hands between hers, trying to bring warmth back into his fingers, and spoke to him gently, telling him he wasn't alone, that he would be all right. She had nothing to offer but her presence, her jacket, and the last of the money she'd earned that day, which she used to buy him a hot cup of tea from a nearby vendor who was closing up shop. It wasn't much. It wasn't enough to fix his life. But it was everything she had. For nearly an hour, Merritt stayed with him beneath that awning, long after her hands had gone numb and her school bag had soaked through. When the rain finally eased, Cassian's strength slowly returned, and he looked at her with eyes that seemed to carry decades of sorrow and quiet gratitude. He asked her name, and she told him, though she thought little of it, expecting this to be nothing more than a passing moment between strangers. He asked why she had stopped to help when so many others had walked by. Merritt only shrugged and said that her mother had once told her that kindness costs nothing, but it can mean everything to someone who has lost hope. She helped him to a taxi that night, giving the driver the last of her coins to ensure he made it home safely, and then she walked back to her cart alone, drenched and shivering, but strangely at peace. She never expected to see him again. Life, after all, had taught her not to expect much of anything. Weeks passed. Merritt continued her routine, selling peanuts, caring for her mother, and stretching every coin until it nearly snapped. Then, one crisp morning, as sunlight spilled gently across Willow Street, a sleek black car pulled up beside her small stand, drawing curious stares from passers-by. Merritt froze, unsure of what to expect, when the door opened and Cassian Voss stepped out, dressed impeccably, his health fully restored, his presence commanding in a way she hadn't noticed before. He smiled at her, warm and genuine, and told her that he had spent weeks searching for the girl who had saved his life that stormy night, the girl who asked for nothing in return. Merritt's heart pounded as he explained that he was the founder of one of the city's largest medical foundations, a man who had once lost everything to illness and grief before rebuilding his life from nothing. That night, alone and forgotten on the street, he had felt closer to death than ever before, until a stranger's kindness reminded him that humanity still existed. Cashin revealed that he had already arranged for Merritt's mother to receive full medical care at his foundation's hospital, free of charge, and that a scholarship fund had been set up in Merritt's name to ensure she could finish school and pursue whatever future she dreamed of. Tears streamed down Merritt's face as the weight of years of struggle finally began to lift, replaced by something she had almost forgotten how to feel: hope. If this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs a reminder that kindness still matters, and subscribe to Hope and Wisdom for more stories like this one. And before we go, do us a small favor: comment the word kindness below if you believe that even the smallest act of compassion can change a life forever. Merritt's mother recovered fully within months, and Merritt herself went on to study medicine, inspired by the man whose life she had saved on an ordinary rainy night. Cashin often visited them, no longer as a stranger, but as family, a reminder that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness plant seeds that grow into miracles no one could have imagined.